Welcome to the Prison Professors program. It's something that I feel really great about, to be able to share stories of people who have built businesses out of nothing, because that's something that many people in jail and prison have to do. And in our course, Preparing for Success After Prison, people learn about these principles, about what does it take to be successful. And even though they may not be able to build a business today, they can learn from people who have built businesses and then kind of reverse engineer and figure out, well, what can I do while I'm in jail or prison to start preparing myself to accelerate my pathway to success. And remember what we always say in our course: if a person can learn simple math skills, verbal communication skills, writing skills, vocabulary, critical thinking, and really an insane self-directed work ethic, that person can become successful in any industry. But today we don't get to talk about it in theory. We get to talk about a guy who is a best-in-class entrepreneur in the digital space, and he's going to share with us some stories about how that business operates. So we're talking with Robert on our series of Pathways to Success. Robert, tell us how you're doing today.
I'm doing okay. Thanks for having me on, Michael. I'm excited to share my experience and talk more about it.
Well, we are super enthusiastic. We're going to be sharing this story with more than 100,000 people in jails and prisons across America, and they need the kind of information that you have. But before we get into how you got there, why don't you tell them a little bit about the businesses that you are operating right now as a digital entrepreneur?
Sure, Michael. So currently, there's many different names for it, but I like to call it content creation. So I'm a full-time content creator. It's lifestyle blogging. So what I do is I essentially kind of create a dialogue or a narrative around my family and my experiences through life, the challenges, the hurdles, the goods, the bad, and essentially work with a lot of advertisers to advertise product and services, essentially monetizing my lifestyle brand.
So one of
Aside from
No,
yeah,
I was just going to tell our audience, one of the things that I promised Robert is that I didn't want to hurt his business in any way by getting affiliated with the prison community, but he's still volunteered to not only tell his story of what he does, but also to really give some insights through the lesson plan that he volunteered to write, that's a part of this video course that we're distributing to jails and prisons. So I'm not going to ask him about the names of the brands, but if it's okay with you, Robert, if I ask some specifics so that our audience gets a kind of an idea of just how successful you are.
Sure.
So what would you say the number of people that are following you as a brand on all the different channels?
Sure. So my current community is roughly 45,000 followers. On average, per story or per frame, I'm seeing about 50,000 impressions, which means 50,000 people view my story.
And out of that, just to give people an idea of what that means in monetization and earning a living, if somebody could become as successful as you, what would a following like that generate in monthly revenues?
It depends on which avenues you take. I would say roughly the opportunity exists within, I would say, $15,000 to $30,000 per month.
And are there costs associated with generating those revenues, or is that all just coming to your pocket when somebody's building that kind of a platform?
Yeah, the beauty of the industry, Michael, is that there's little to no overhead. It's just essentially a phone and some editing tools.
And so that's why it's so exciting. We're talking to somebody who has just told us, with relatively little in the way of capital equipment or labor, a person can build a following and a business that's generating $15,000 to $30,000 a month. You may not be able to start your social media channel while you're in prison, but there are skills that you can develop that will accelerate your pathway if that's the direction you want to choose. So Robert, I thank you for giving us those broad numbers, but why don't you tell us a little bit now about your background? Where did what part of the country are you from? And tell us about growing up in that part of the country.
Sure, Michael. So I'm from the Bay Area. I'm here in California. I've moved around to different counties, but I would say my home base would be San Jose, California. That's where really the majority of my formative years were at. Went to school here, went to high school, went to all the schools here, and essentially after college, um, I tried college for a couple of years. I was kind of in this testing mode. I wasn't really sure what I wanted to do with my life. Post high school, I was experimenting with different courses. I thought I wanted to be a firefighter one day. One day, I wanted to be a marine biologist. So I was kind of experimenting with different subjects. It came to a point, Michael, where I just really didn't find comfort in school. It just wasn't for me. I had, and I still have kind of a need to travel and explore as much as possible. So I had a conversation with my parents after maybe 2 years of college and said, "Hey, look, I no longer want to waste your money. It's not for me. I'm not passionate about it. I need to take some time to kind of figure out life." So funny story is my mom said, "Okay, well, here's what we're going to do. College isn't working out for you. I see it in the grades. I see the lack of passion. I'm going to book you a one-way trip to Europe for a couple of months, buy a backpack, and figure it out." So essentially, that's really kind of where I like to say my life started. It was just an experience, Michael. I traveled to 10 different countries, to the point where I ended up living there for almost 6 months, almost 6 or 7 months. My mother, funny enough, gave me kind of a budget. Just get, okay, you get X amount of money. Once that runs out, you got to figure it out. So within 6 months, I was essentially kind of trying to figure this out. And it was just a wonderful experience. It taught me self-sustainability and interpersonal skills and survival skills in essence. So that's really where my life kind of started, I like to say.
And so, what year was that during your hiatus to Europe, and the time you
Um,
came back?
yeah, that was, I think it was around 2005, and I came back in 2006.
2006. So that's around the time that the country is going into a recession, isn't it, or sort of a little before then?
It was, I think, during that recession.
So, what kind of career did you build when you came back as kind of a meandering guy who started off in college, took us trips through Europe, and then comes back to the United States? How did you support yourself?
Yeah, so I didn't start my entrepreneurial life didn't start until later in life. I realized I always had fascination with kind of startups and growing a business from inception to its full potential. So I was given a chance to work with a startup company, a tech startup company in San Francisco. So I took this job about 2010, and really kind of immersed myself. And this is when tech startup in San Francisco was like hot, right? So I was in that space. I think it was about 2008 actually. So I started at the tech startup, started doing lead generation and kind of very entry level type of work, and fully immersed myself in the tech industry and slowly kind of grew through the ranks in that industry.
And how long did you work in that capacity until you decided to become an independent entrepreneur or social media guy?
Yeah, so I call it my professional life started in 2010 up until about 2015. I kind of outgrew the industry. So I started as a lead generator, which was at this time kind of an entry level sales position. Grew up the ranks of inside sales manager, business development manager, channel manager, and I kind of capped out. I'm like, this is great. I'm getting a lot of experience, but now I'm interested in kind of taking it to the next level and starting my own endeavor. And that was about 2015, 2016.
So walk us through what it means for people in prison. What does it mean to be a lead generator? Walk us through that
Sure.
job description, and help us understand the compensation for somebody who's a lead generator.
Sure. So I would recommend Lead Generator for anybody that's looking to get into the sales industry in any capacity with limited to no experience. It's heavily focused on cold calling, farming leads, essentially for the sales representatives or the sales folks to close at a later time. So it's a great point of entry to get into any kind of sales position. they're not looking for sales experience. They're looking more so for motivation and capacity. What are your goals? How much money are you looking to make, and how much drive do you have for the job?
So the real skill set, of course, for lead generation, sales, or really even doing what Robert's doing right now is going to be your ability to put words into sentences, sentences into paragraphs, to speak in a manner that engages your audience and
Correct.
allows you to get people to know, like, and trust you. And if you can do that, it doesn't matter that you've got a criminal background. It matters
Yes.
that you can succeed. And if you succeed, that can advance you to new opportunities like Robert experienced. So
Correct.
you started off in lead generation. Could you tell us about like how companies in the tech industry are paying for that type of a role? Number one, and number two, how does a person really differentiate himself and really define or pursue excellence in that role?
Sure. So at this time, this was about 2010. I was making about $50,000 a month entry point.
A month or a year?
I'm sorry, a year. Sorry, yeah, 50,000 annual salary. The beauty of just like in any sales position is you have a no cap. So it's very commission driven. In most scenarios, you're given a base with kind of a commission structure. So if you're really motivated and you're really serious about it, earning capacity is exponential.
So $50,000 a year, which is roughly about $1,000 a week, but you also
Yes.
set a commission with an upside for pursuing excellence, for doing well. What does that commission structure typically look like? And just give me an example of your industry.
Sure. I would say the average lead generator in the Bay Area or in California in general, I would say the annual salary per average with commission can run anywhere between $50,000 to $70,000 a year.
So you said a base salary is 50, correct? Let's just stick with
Correct.
that. That's base, whether you sink or swim, the company's making an investment in you that we're going to pay
Correct.
you 50. But if I really crush it and do really well, how do I know that every week or every month? Tell me how that commission structure works, and just try to really make it dumb it down for somebody like me who's been in prison for 26 years.
Sure. Every company has different
Yeah, just give me an
formats.
example of yours.
Um, I would say for it was depending on how many of those leads that I sent over were closed or were transacted. I would say I earned about
No, no, I'm not
roughly.
interested in what you earned. I'm trying to get somebody who's in prison who's not doing that to
Okay.
understand the metrics and the formula. If I've got a base of 50 and if I
Sure.
exceed, how do I measure excellence? What is the company going to
Sure.
say? I'll give you this. Is it a percentage of what closes? Is it a percentage?
Yes.
Walk us through that, please.
Sure. So hypothetically, a product that you sold is $100,000. The company is going to give you roughly 10 to 20% of that total sale.
Just of the gross sale.
The gross sale, correct.
So a good lead generator, you said, has no cap, but you also said when you said $50,000 a year as a base,
Yes.
what is the best in class lead generator at the firm where you worked? What do you think he earned a year?
100,000 plus.
So he made
Average.
50 as a base plus
Yes.
another 50 in bonuses or
Yes.
commissions or something along those lines.
A successful lead generator, or anybody in sales for that matter, is going to make more off of their commission than their base. The base is simply to keep you afloat and is seen as an investment from the company to motivate you. But the true chunk of your earnings will come from
Now,
commissions.
let me ask you, how does somebody take the step from being a lead generator to becoming a closer, a salesperson?
Sure. I would say first and foremost is your track record. If you have a positive track record for the quarter, for the year, for the month, and more so, I would say tech companies are looking for people who have a lot of self drive. Tech industries have a lot of risk involved already, so they're looking for people who have kind of best in class qualities for those specific positions. The risk is high, so the investment has to be a good investment. Tech companies often look for people who are self motivated, self driven, and highly focused. essentially, I like to say you're kind of already running your own business as a lead generator or in any capacity in sales.
So that's really great insight for anybody who's going through our course, or that's exactly what we talk about is you've got to be self-driven, you got to have an insane work ethic, but you also
Yes.
have to have the skills to allow you to accelerate. You may have a great work ethic, but if you don't have the right vocabulary, or if you're not used to putting words into sentences really quickly, or provide analogies, or convert somebody who may be skeptical into somebody who says, wow, I really want to work with you and I want your product, right? That's a skill. And that skill you can develop while you're in prison just by building your vocabulary, working on your writing skills, working on your reading skills, and working on your verbal communication skills. These are things
Yes.
that people can do regardless of the prisons offering any courses. So,
Absolutely, Michael. I agree.
my follow up to all of this is if my understanding is that as a lead generator, you can get a $50,000 base plus up to 10% or so on the gross sale. If I advanced, if I really developed these skills, then I'm a type A. I'm a killer on that floor.
Yeah.
How does that commission structure work for the salesperson, the closer? What does his structure look like? Does he also receive a base, or is he strictly commission? Eat what you kill.
Well, there's two ways of looking at it in a sales format. There's base with commission, and then if you're a real killer, you're going on commission only, where you really eat what you kill what you eat, right? So, um, it depends on which way you want to go.
I want to
If
be
you
a
like,
killer. What am I earning?
okay,
What does my commission structure look like?
20 to 30% of the total gross sell per product,
So this is
depending
really
on.
interesting. There's a lot right just there. Just I like to unpack things for our audiences because this is what I would have learned if I were in prison. I would have heard him say, well, "Wait a minute. The tech company, there's only 100% of a pie. And of that
Right,
pie, we're already going to be carving out some money for infrastructure of the company. But in
right,
addition to that, I got to reserve up to 10% for the lead generator. And then
yes,
the sales guy, he's going to earn 20 to 30% of the commission. So there's like 40% of that sale that's reserved for commissions.
correct.
And it's really important for you to learn that. If there's that much of a percentage of the pie that's going out to support the sales team, it's letting you know that sales are what drives all business. And if
100%.
and if you want to be successful in the sales community, now is the time to be developing those interpersonal skills
Yes.
so that people know you, like you, and trust you. I've got a follow up to this before we transition, Robert, and that is, have you ever been in the role of hiring people for these different roles?
I have. So in my third position, I was a business development manager, and I was in charge of hiring a team of lead generators from scratch.
So, if when you were hiring these people in Lead Generator, and you've already told us what skills you were looking for,
Yes.
if I'm really good at what I do, and I'm exceptional over the phone, I'm really good at writing fast emails, and they're coherent, and they're written in a manner that people engage. If I'm doing all of that, what what influence would a criminal background have on your decision to hire me?
We've actually, looking back now, we've actually hired convicted felons. It's really we understand that life happens, but there's a lot of variables that are involved. You know, what type of crime was it? How long ago was it? What are they doing now with their lives? And more so, what are the plans for the future? So just because you're a convicted felon, I would say does not automatically um, eliminate you from obtaining these opportunities. I would like to note, Michael, that you made a good point. I think there's a lot of opportunity for those who are in prison currently to start thinking about this, because in sales, the golden rule is that they don't buy based off the product, they buy based off the salesperson. So if you obtain very high level interpersonal skills, marketable skills, that's already going to give you a huge advantage over somebody who's out here that maybe has a little bit of the drive but doesn't have those marketable interpersonal skills. So now I would say now's the time. If you're in prison, now is the time to start building those traits to put you in the best position possible.
And people don't really realize just how hard that is. As somebody who had to develop skills while going through 9,500 days in prison, I know it's not easy. But
Sure.
every day you're making a choice. You're making a choice whether you want to focus on television soap operas, listening to music, playing card games, or saying, when I emerge from prison, I want to emerge with my dignity intact and with opportunities to prosper. Well, that
Yes.
is, if you can learn to read well, write well, speak well,
Yes.
become persuasive and influential, people will pay you, and your criminal background will be irrelevant. Why? Because sales drive the organization. You can
100%.
you can reverse engineer that, just as we learned from Robert, who just kind of very quickly said, out of 100% of the sale, 40% of that is going to commissions. That's because
Yeah.
that's what keeps the business afloat. So make sure that you're considering that if you're in prison and you're trying to break your way into the job market. Sales are always an opportunity where people rise to their highest ability with no cap. So,
Correct.
but also I would say, if a company is paying you a $50,000 base and you're not performing, you don't have that drive, you don't have that work ethic, you're not going to be there for longer than a month or two. So
Exactly.
if the company's
Yeah.
not going to keep it funding you to be, win the ninth place trophy or be like the prize of mediocrity, you got to be
Right.
type A, and you've got to make things happen in order to
Right.
survive. So
That's right.
so sales is a super inviting profession for people who come out of prison, but only if they've invested the time to develop these skills. And Robert,
That's
you
right.
clearly developed those skills.
Yes.
You said that by 2015, 2016, you decided to make a shift and do some things on your own, and you went into the social media world. Now, a lot of people in prison obviously don't have, first of all, they don't have access to social media, but second, they don't really understand the metrics and how they do it, how they grow. So I would be really grateful to you if you could help our audience understand a little bit about like the different platforms where somebody might publish, and
Hmm.
and then I'll have some follow-up questions there. What are the different platforms where you publish?
Sure. So I use Instagram as my preference for my platform, but there's a host of different platforms out there,
I'm going to
such as
ask you to just focus on you if I could. What are all the platforms where you publish your content?
Instagram.
Only Instagram. So you're
Only
hyper focused on Instagram.
that's correct.
Great. I'm going to dive deeper onto Instagram in just a moment. Before I cut you off, you were about to tell me some of the other platforms where somebody could become an expert. What are those other platforms that you could just help us understand off the top of your head?
Yeah. So I would say the second best choice, in my opinion, for monetization capabilities would be YouTube. Especially from a person that has a prison experience. People are very interested in those stories. They've done a study, Michael, where they've broken down the most interesting subject matters for social media. And I think prison stories was somewhere in the top 5. So I would like to say that, as I embark in my experience of going to prison, and I'm sure people that are currently there now, it's a good time to start journaling these entries as far as your experiences through this system. So when you get out, you have the ability to not only share them with your friends and family, but potentially also publish them in these types of platforms, which could lead to possible monetization capabilities.
So, YouTube, Instagram, could you name some of the others for those who have been
Sure.
away from the internet for 10 years or 20 years? Like when I went
Sure.
to prison, the internet didn't exist. So I had to learn
Right.
everything. And there are some people in our audience that have been in prison for longer than 20 years.
Yeah.
So, could you name for me, let's just kind of do it together. Like let's try and come up with 10 different internet platforms where somebody could build a brand as a
Sure.
social influencer. You've got Instagram and YouTube.
Yeah. Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, Facebook. There's Snapchat, and there's LinkedIn for professional subject matter. What are the other? I think
Twitter,
Twitter. Yeah, Twitter is a good one as well.
Pinterest.
Pinterest. Yeah, it's Pinterest is more of a kind of a motivational board type of platform
But it's
versus
still
a
one where a person could build a
good.
platform.
Exactly.
And I want to get the reason I'm asking for all of these is I want to just kind of hyper. How about iTunes audio?
Podcast is a huge one.
Okay.
Yeah. So if you want to create a podcast, there's huge earning capacity there.
Okay, and let's just think to round out 10. Let's try and if we could figure out one other. Um, what else could we do? Just blogging, just building
Blog,
your own personal blog.
blog. Yeah, creating a blog
Okay.
would be another
So,
great one.
so the key takeaway here, there's 10. Let me see if I can do them off the top of my head again. Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter. We said iTunes. We said Pinterest. We said three others. I don't remember off the top of my head, but we'll have them in the show notes. But the
Yeah.
important thing to take away is what do they all have in common? Could you tell me one thing they all have in common, Robert?
The ability to be monetized and the ability to share your story to a broad audience.
And what's important to do that, what are the tools or resources that are necessary to do that? The very basic tools.
Your stories and your phone.
Yeah, but the basic tool you could have to develop is you just have to develop the need to communicate. You
Correct.
need to be able to do what Robert and I are doing right now. Talk.
Correct.
Put words
Yes.
into sentences, sentences into paragraphs in a coherent, sequential way. And that's like a fundamental skill that you're going
Correct.
to need to succeed in this area. And that's
Yes.
what we teach in this course. If you want to prepare for success after prison, make sure that you focus on those key elements that we'll go over again before we recap this course. But be recognizing this is not an exercise to get a certificate or a lower bunk pass or even time off of your sentence. This is a pathway to end the intergenerational cycle of recidivism that plagues our country and to make sure that when you come home, you can emerge with your dignity intact and opportunities to prosper. So, Robert, yes. I would like to now hone in a little bit more on Instagram. For those who have been in prison a long time, explain to them just the fundamental basics of what is Instagram.
Sure. I would think of Instagram as like a poster board platform where you go and create content that is really kind of a dialogue of your life. You have the ability to create posts, you have the ability to create videos, and without getting too much into it, the ability to create reels. So a reel would be like a 15 to 30-second snippet of a subject. It's a consolidated video. So there's a lot of different ways to convey your life using this platform.
So a video is a reel. A reel is a 15 to 30-second video. And
yes.
I mean, I've got a phone right here. I'm sitting here on the phone with you. If I wanted
yes.
to do that right now, I would just go to what? Would I go to video on my phone or would I do it right within the Instagram app?
Yeah, it's built natively within the app. So if you go on Instagram, you click on Reel, it'll create a reel for you. But what's nice about these tools, Michael, that's a good point, is they've made them so intuitive. Instagram has made these tools intuitive enough where with kind of a basic background knowledge, you can create this content.
So I'm going to say I am on the Prison Professor's Instagram page, and I am not a socialite. My content and focuses on people on prison, but in the interests of transparency, let's go ahead and build one right now live. Talk about what we're doing. What would I do to just give them
on the bottom? On the bottom, there's going to be several icons. There's the home button.
I see that. I see that.
Magnifying glass, and there's the plus with the square.
Okay.
Click on the plus with the square. You're going to have a host of different options.
I see that looks like this right here.
Yeah. So go ahead and click on Reel.
Reel. And I see reel there at the bottom. So now it looks like that. This is what it looks like now.
There's options on the left. You can create audio for that reel. You can create different gradient backgrounds.
Okay, let's just say I want to talk about I'm learning getting social media lessons for people in prison. I want to do that in about 15 seconds. How do I do it? What do? I just hit that button right there?
Yep, that's it.
Okay.
Hit that button there and go to town.
Okay, so watch this. This is going to be real. I will weave this into the video.
Yep.
I'm super excited to be talking to a social media expert. There he is right there. We are using this story with Robert to teach people in jails and prisons how to prepare for success. It's part of our course at prisonprofessors.com, and we're super enthusiastic to be able to share it with hundreds of thousands of people in prison, but also with you. So visit us at prisonprofessors.com.
Perfect.
Okay, so I just did it. It's got
Next.
2 seconds. Now what? Now what's gonna? It's still
I
the
put-
little circle's still going.
Yeah, it's populating
So
the content.
I go to next. Okay.
Next, share,
Share.
and you can make that shareable on your
How do I do
wall.
that? I'm right there right now.
It'll do it for you. So click on next.
I went like that. Now it's like this.
Now it's posted.
Oh.
Oh, I can't quite see what. Oh, okay. So go on your profile, and it should have been posted.
Go on my profile. Okay. So I don't know how to do all that, but we'll figure it out. You can show me a little bit later,
Yeah.
but it's live.
show you
It's
it.
I recorded it, right? So it should be live.
Yeah, you have the ability also to go live. So if you want to create a live instance, you can do that as well.
Let's show them how we do that. So what do I
Okay.
go?
So you go on the same option,
Right?
and you want to click on that plus, and then go live.
Oh, wait a second. Live. Okay, there's live. Okay.
Yep, and then go and click that middle button.
And that's going to be what? How do I end it after when I'm ready to end it? Just click it again.
You click that same button. So
Okay.
when you click, so click that same button.
Can I shift the camera from this way to that way while during the filming?
Yeah, there's an icon on the bottom. It's got two arrows. That
I
are
see
kinda
it.
crossing
Okay,
each other.
so I'm going to do it right now. All
Yes.
right. Hold on. It says checking connection. You are now live. I am Michael Santos with Prison Professors, and we're recording this content for people in prison. You can see right there. I got to see how I get over there because I'm not able to switch it, I guess.
Yeah.
And
And Michael, I follow you, and on my notifications, I got notification that you're going live. So I'm going to go on your live.
So this is the way that we are converting with people, conversing with people in the real community and sharing this with people in prison. More than 200,000 people in jails and prisons use the Prison Professors program. I'm super grateful to Robert, who is teaching us how to do this. And what we're doing is we're showing people how to build jobs while use their time in prison so that when they come home, they can build jobs just like Robert did. He is a social media expert, and we're learning from him today. So now I want to stop this, and what do I do?
Click the same button.
Well, right now I got all these little things on there. Where's the button?
Oh, there's a button on the. There's an X on the top right. The X button. You want to click on that.
Okay, click on that and end now, and share, and there it is. And
so you had a total of 3 visitors.
Okay, so look at that.
It gives you these metrics.
What's that?
It gives you these metrics. So there were three viewers that were following our story.
So what we should be doing here is doing some more of these to teach people in prison real time how do they develop a skill set that can translate into an income stream when they come home. I don't have a social presence in that way because my focus is on changing the prison system and helping, 1 million people in prison prepare for success after prison. And I do it by reaching out to leaders like Robert, who is an expert in the area. And you can see just in a few minutes, he was able to show me how to get started on it. Now, you just acknowledge that I can look at our Instagram page and see that we only have about, let's see, what do we have? About, we only have 521 followers. So if we wanted to grow this account, what would be the process?
Well, I think you're already kind of doing that now. Is you have to determine your audience. You have to kind of focus or hone in on your target market, which is what you're doing now. And there is one golden rule with expanding your network, Michael, and it's not hard. It's actually quite easy. And that is, in this industry, content is king. The more content that you're going to post, the more followers that you're going to obtain organically. It doesn't cost anything. It's just a matter of creating that content. If you don't create content, your clients are not going to be engaged. It can be as simple as you walking down the street to vlog, or you at a convention.
Why don't you show us one right now? You've got a thought. Show us what we're doing. We're teaching people in prison how to prepare for success. why don't you do one so our audience can see it? Do you have
Sure.
a phone? Just do a vlog right now, exactly what you're talking about, so
Yeah.
they can see
So
this is an expert who makes
yeah.
a significant income, top 5% in the nation, by doing what you're going to see him do right now. Go ahead, Robert.
Okay. Hey everyone, welcome to my page again. Today I'm speaking with Michael Santos from Prison Professors. Michael runs Prison Professors, which is a campaign to advocate for those that are incarcerated or justice impacted, to give them another chance and reduce recidivism in this country. Today we're talking about different subject matter. We're talking about digital media, something that is so prominent in this day and age. I think is so important. And I'm happy to share this content with Michael. I'm happy to share this content with the hundred thousands of people that are viewing this content. And my question to you, audience, is, are you interested in this subject matter? What do you know about the prison industry? It's something that we often don't talk about, often can be taboo. But my question to you today is, what is your opinion about prison? I would leave it there.
Did you
I would
do
post
that?
it.
Was that
Yeah,
live? So now you
I made a
stopped.
yeah. So I made a video,
So you did
and
not
then
make that a live video,
I didn't make it a live video. I made it a reel.
a reel.
Yeah. So I'm going to complement that reel with an engaging question.
Okay.
You always want to leave it as a question to start building that dialogue. So, for instance, this subject that you and I are talking can actually lead to a longer conversation, which is, okay, I'm opening up that topic of prison. To many, it's kind of taboo. Believe it or not, somebody, and I don't have the statistic, maybe you do, they have somebody in their family that is incarcerated. So it will resonate at some level.
Mm-hmm.
Whoa, prison, this is all new and foreign to me. But it's interesting. It's interesting because it's something that I don't know anything about, or it's interesting because my uncle is actually incarcerated and I want to learn more. So the best way to start now is to start creating dialogues and to start creating storylines by having engaging content.
So a reel, just so that I'm clear, we're talking about specifically Robert's one social media channel that he loves, which is Instagram. And
Correct.
on Instagram, he is saying, I thought Instagram was only images, taking a picture. Okay?
Yeah.
So for example, I could go to my thing right now, I think, if I want to take a picture, what do I do?
Yeah. So
Is
you
that
would
called
take
a
the
post? No.
Yeah. So you take a photo.
I want to take a picture of you.
Okay.
So what do I
So you
do?
take,
I want to take a picture of what we're doing right now.
yeah, you take a picture of me. So you take a picture of
So
me.
show the audience what to do. This is
Okay.
a phone. Okay.
Yes.
What should I click next?
Okay. So you want to take the picture first. So go on your camera.
But remember, I don't know what you're talking about, and neither do the
Okay.
people in my audience. What do I do? That's the home page. What do I
Okay.
do?
So in your phone, you have a camera. So the camera is really where the content kind of starts.
Yeah, but
So
where do I go from here? Do I go to the camera and
oh,
get off
go
of
to,
this
yeah,
page?
you go to your home page.
I see. So I'm going to go to my home page. That's here,
Yeah, and
right?
you click on the camera option.
So I click on the camera option. There's the camera. And now I
Take your
just want to take
picture.
a picture of you, right?
Correct.
So I'll just take a picture of you, make it
Correct.
big and nice, and this is what we're doing, and boom. So I took a picture. Now I click on the picture and I post it to Instagram or what?
You go to Instagram.
Okay, go to Instagram now. So that's a
Yep.
different app. Well, my wife
Correct.
gave me an iPhone when I got out of prison. I put it to my ear. I said, this doesn't work. There's no dial tone. Since then, I learned how to do it. So I
Okay.
had to learn all these things here, and now
So
I'm
you go
learning.
back. So you go back to the
There's the
plus.
Instagram app.
Yep. So you go on the square with the plus icon on the bottom.
That's right there. There's
You
the
click
picture.
You click on the picture,
Okay.
and you have the ability. Once you click on the picture, you have the ability to actually create a dialogue or create.
So do I hit next or what from there?
Yes.
So I hit
Click
next.
next. You choose your filter.
I don't need a filter for now. Just I can see a filter. What would the filter? What would you choose a filter?
I wouldn't choose a filter.
Okay,
It
so-
depends on what your theme is,
So
but I
hit
would.
next. There it is.
Correct.
They're getting live training right now. Now I come to this screen.
Yep. Okay.
Hit OK. Okay. And now I can write a caption.
You write your caption.
Teaching people in prison. That's all I write?
Correct.
Social.
You also want to add You also want to add your location. The reason why you want to add your location, Michael,
Uh-huh.
is there's different mechanisms or different systems in place to look for things, keywords, and those type of functions. One of those mechanisms is location. So people often look for content based off of location.
So there we go. Laguna Niguel right there.
Yeah.
And now
Click
what?
share.
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 And that's it.
That's it.
Turn on sharing. Now, okay, so that's it. Okay, so
Yeah.
I've got to learn how to do this. And we're going to do it together because Robert has made a commitment to helping more people in prison prepare in ways that will lead to success upon release. And we're
That's
going
right.
to write this lesson plan up, but we'll also create these videos that will go into prisons. And that is one way that we all can work toward being the change that we want to see in the world. So before we get into that course, that ongoing course, I'm going to ask Robert for a few more details on this whole Instagram social media platform, which is really new to me. So,
Mhm.
so Robert, you spoke about a reel. That's telling a story. You also spoke about live. You said a reel, as I understood you to say, it's 15 to 30 seconds, correct?
Correct.
And live, how long can that be?
I don't have the metrics as far as like the capacity, but a person shouldn't go live for more than an hour.
Oh, that's a
I don't.
very long time. So I could have been
Yeah.
recording this entire show with you live.
Yes. Absolutely.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
So that's important to realize.
Yes.
But it's more typical to make it for what, 5 minutes, 10 minutes?
Depends on the subject matter. We could have easily taken this webinar live.
Wow. So
Yeah.
my focus is communicating with you, people in jails and prisons across America, and I have to use old school technology. I mean, let me see if I could find one around here. I don't. But because the prison is so hyper focused on security, I can't do live stuff in prison, nor can I even send them a link. I have to create them on these DVDs from like the 1970s and send it in. But we are creating a lesson plan that goes along with this course so that you can learn the basics. And today, I'm going to tell you what I have learned. There are 10 different social media channels, at least, that we've just outlined, probably many more. There are different ways of using each one. Robert is an expert on Instagram, which includes still photos, like I showed, reels that are 15 to 30 seconds, live videos. What else do you do with Instagram?
Sure. I think we failed to mention the most important one. I think the most used one, which was a story.
A story. And what is a
Yeah.
story?
So story is really kind of the bread and butter of a content creator, and that really creates the dialogue of your life. So what that is if you go on Instagram now, if you go on your homepage, there's a your story icon here, and you create either a short video or an image of what you're doing now.
Okay, so I'm going to
And
try that. Let me just
yeah,
try it. How long can that be?
it can be as long as a minute. It can be as long as several minutes. It
Okay,
can
but
be
it's live.
a photo.
Is it live or do I just film it like this? Would I just do it right
Uh,
now?
no, yeah. So to create the stories, you want to go to your icon on the top left. So if you want to go back to your home page,
Okay, back here.
and then click on your story under your profile picture,
I see it there, right there.
and then you have the ability to post a video or a picture.
So I want to post a video. What do I do?
You create the video, and then you
So I
post
get
that
out
video.
of this screen?
You can do it from that screen. See that little camera icon?
Yes. Click it.
Click on that. Yep.
Then hit what? Story. And then how do I
Story.
make it a video?
So you can hold it down once. If you hold it down once, you're going to take a photo. If you hold on to that button, it's going to create a video.
What if I want to start with looking at me and then twitch it over to look to you? Can you do that mid video?
Yes, you can.
So how do I do that?
You toggle it to you by clicking this arrow button, the
Right?
cycle arrow
Yes.
button. You hold down that middle button
Okay.
in process. You creating a video, and then you toggle back by clicking that same arrow icon.
Okay. So let's try that. Okay. I'm going to
Yes.
try this right now. Actually, I don't need to be looking at me. I want to look at you anyway. and I'm going
Okay.
to say what I am doing. So I'm going to just do this story, and I'm going to say, I am really grateful to Robert for spending time with more than 100,000 people in jails and prisons. He's teaching us about social media, which I will take into jails and prisons as I work to help people inside understand what steps they can take to prepare for success when they come home. I couldn't do this without a social entrepreneur like Robert, but he is showing me now every time I go to a prison, before I go, I'm going to use this story button. In fact, next week I'll be in the United States Penitentiary in Leavenworth and the Federal Correctional Institution in Greenville, and I'm going to
Oh
be
yeah.
creating these stories as I go, talking about how Prison Professors is using experts like Robert to really change the narrative, improve outcomes for people in jails and prisons. My name is Michael Santos. I'm with Prison Professors and super enthusiastic to be with you. So there we go. So now
Perfect.
I go there.
Um,
Now what?
yep.
Go to
You
share,
click on you click on your story,
clicked on your story.
and it'll automatically populate it to your
Story.
page.
Okay, and do I hit share?
Share.
What does that mean?
That's going to post to your actual page.
Okay, and that's it?
That's it.
Okay, done. Done. Okay, done. Okay, so that's it. So that's a story. So now I've learned about 3 concepts of Instagram. I've learned about more. I've learned about images. That's just taking a picture. If I want to take a picture of my wife right now, I'd probably get in trouble. But she doesn't like me to take pictures of her and post her so easily. I find her beautiful every day. But I won't get in trouble today, so I won't take a picture of Carol. But I learned about Reels, 15 to 30
Yeah.
seconds, and that's about something I'm doing right now. Does that live forever on the platform?
No, so if you have a reel on your actual page, that is forever. The stories disappear within 24 hours. So its purpose is to kind of create a dialogue or a chronicle example of your
So I
life.
should do that several times a day. What I'm doing, if I'm talking about prison reform, I should be doing that.
Content is king.
Okay, so that's super easy for me to do. That's all I do. So
Yeah.
so next will be to do live,
Yes.
and does that live forever on the page that people can come back and look at later?
You post. There's an option of keeping it permanently on your page, but you also have the option of it to disappear within 24 hours.
Okay, so I'm not interested in monetizing it. I'm interested in spreading awareness for advocacy of prison reform. But I know that our audience is going to be interested in advertising it and making money. How do they do that? What do they have to do
Sure.
to start turning this into a job? First of all, they have to
Sure.
build a following or what?
Yeah, so you need yourself, you need a compelling story, and you need to really understand your target audience. There's some other tools involved, but you grow your presence to, I'd say, 10,000 followers as kind of the benchmark for being able to monetize your account. Once you've gathered enough followers with your content, you have the ability to either partner with advertisers to advertise their product and or services, or there are people out there who want to monetize your traffic, meaning I like your subject matter. I want to be able to kind of tap into your market, show me who your followers are, and what does your engagement look like. So I guess to summarize it, or to really kind of put it in short, is there's different avenues to be able to monetize. Someone like you maybe doesn't want to make money off of Instagram directly, but you want to grow your presence. That kind of indirectly is a way of monetizing your business because
Sure.
it focuses on business development. So
So I think what we should do is create some more of this content to the extent that Robert is willing to see if we can build a tribe of people
yeah,
who are learning to prepare themselves for success using his techniques. This is
yes,
this is something that Prison Professors is going to try to collaborate with more on Robert, but our main lesson that I want you to learn is you have to invest in yourself before you can
yes.
expect somebody else to invest in you. Isn't that right?
Absolutely. That's right. I would say, although you don't have the ability to be on the phone while inside, like you said, Michael, you still have the ability to obtain these other skills, like interpersonal skills, learning the functions of conversing with somebody. Those are the essential things that you need to be an influencer, anyways. This stuff you can learn.
Yeah, well, I couldn't learn. I've been out of prison for 10 years now, and you just taught me more than I've ever known about Instagram. So you're a great teacher, a great contributor, and I really want to thank you for being so generous with your time. I know you're a super busy guy, and I'm going to appreciate the lesson that you write for this course, but I'm also going to just give you a heads up. I think a great contribution to our nonprofit will be to find Instagram users, and let's create like a 10 module self-directed course that people can see. And we'll just do it live, just as we did today, where I said, let's focus on creating 10 stories, 10 reels, 10 live videos. Boom, show them how we did it. And then you could spend some time sharing with us the other components of what is the aftermarket. You said there are other tools. I'd like to learn those other tools and help our audience learn those other tools. And here's what I'm going to do for people who are watching this video. If you have access to core links in your federal prison, I'm going to invite you here. You see, you'd have to watch this much of the video to get through it, but send us an invite on core links to scholarship@prisonprofessors.com. In fact, we're going to create an email that says scholarship-robert@prisonprofessors.com. And everybody who sends us that email, we're going to respond to you. You know what? Scratch what I just said. We got to think this through a little bit better, but here's effectively what we're going to do at Prison Professors, our nonprofit. We're going to create a mechanism in the lesson plan that you could send a core links invite to us, and our team will then send you a free copy of not only this lesson, but also a copy of Preparing for Success After Prison and Robert's course. And what I'm going to ask you to do is then you're going to have to give responses to some questions. What's a reel? What's a live? What's a post? What is a story? And how do you use them? How can you use them for business? Those are some simple questions that you can answer, and we're going to publish them. That way Robert can show, hey, he's not just wasting his time. He's helping people prepare for success after prison. How does that sound, Robert? That sounds like I'd like to collect 1,000 people doing that and publish that so that the world can know what a great contributor you are to our nonprofit.
Awesome. I'm excited about it. I'm very happy to do it.
So we're going to spend some time together creating these videos that will go along with the lesson plan to give you a tutorial on making money on Instagram, even while you're in prison. Even though you can't access it in prison, you can learn the skills that'll help you when you come home. Robert, I really want to thank you for being a part of our community. I want to just give a quick recap of our course for those of you who are working through the Preparing for Success After Prison course. Listen to how I can take Robert's story and fit it right into those 10 parameters. First, you got to define success. Robert knew he didn't like college. He wanted to find his way. He decided to go backpacking in Europe. He came back. He built his career in lead gen, sales, and then business. That was his path. What is yours? None of it happens if you can't start by defining success. 2, you've got to set clear goals. And Robert told us about the importance of developing strong communication skills, confidence, work ethic, self-directed. These are the resources you need to develop, and nothing's stopping you from developing them right now. 3, you got to have the right attitude. If you know why you're doing this, you can commit, and we recommend you commit with 100% to success as you defined it. 4, you have got to make sure that you can see the future. That's the aspiration module. Remember, Robert started off with how many followers when you started, Robert?
About 50.
About 50.
Friends and family.
And now he got it to how many?
About 45,000.
45,000. And those 45,000 monetize it for him for $15,000 to $30,000 a month. And then later videos, you'll learn it's not only through Instagram, but it's also through products that he creates. And we'll learn about that later. 5, you've got to take action. Make sure that you're working to develop these skills of writing, speaking, math, critical thinking. Make sure you focus on that. 6, accountability. You've got to hold yourself accountable. Robert told us content is king. How many pieces of content do you create a day?
On average, about 20 stories.
20 stories a day. That's accountability. 7, you've got to be aware. Make sure that you're aware of new technology and new tools that are available to help you. And then simultaneously, by doing that, you make the world aware of you. That's how he's built his following to tens of thousands. 8, you got to be authentic. A story can't be faked. You've got to be real. You've got to be telling this story about what you're doing to prepare for success. 9, You celebrate every little achievement. I'm celebrating that I just learned some new skills in technology today. And then 10, you've got to express gratitude for the blessings that come your way. And Robert, I just want to express our gratitude as a small, fledgling nonprofit who's trying to change the world and be the change we want to see in the world. Thank you for spending time with us, not only for the hour that you've spent today, but also for the probably 10 or 15 hours it's going to take you to write this course, and that we could use to help justice-impacted people start sowing seeds for a better outcome. But we've come to the end of our time together. Can I ask, well, I'm not going to ask. I'm going to tell you, you've got the last word. If you want to communicate to more than 100,000 people in jail or in prison today, what advice do you have for them?
I would just really say, yeah, it's a digital age. We live in a world where kind of, everything is digital. So it's never too late. Like you said, focus on building your interpersonal skills like confidence and communication, interpersonal skills, and remember the stories, because people love stories. So journal your stories, journal your entries. So when you come out, you can record those, share those, and more importantly, have others learn from those. So.
And in our future videos, we will ask Robert to teach us other successful Instagrammers and what they're doing. And hopefully through this course, you will develop more confidence that when you come home, you can create your own income streams. That's how we prepare for success at prison. At Prison Professors, we're grateful to you for being a part of our community. Robert, I just want to let you know, you are now a prison professor. Thank you.
Thank you, Michael.